Hi, so this is going to be my reactions to your first set of blog posts, and I'll keep these reactions to under 14 minutes. But I do hope that you'll try to listen through. I'm not sure if I'll get to 14 minutes. Also, I might make references to posts that are yours or not yours. That doesn't mean that they're good or bad, or I'm picking on your posts or not picking on your posts. It's just things I'm using as illustrations. These are all general comments. I'll have sent to you all individual comments as well. First of all, um, overall, I think they're pretty good. We're off to a good start, and I'm jealous of you all having this really incredible opportunity. And many of you understand this as this amazing opportunity, and that's great. We don't really want to stay focused on the amazing opportunity that we're having. We want to really report and tell stories um, and report stories of different kinds and different genres and different ways to really pull the readers inside the story. So, in general, I'd say most of your um, or a lot of the blog posts so far are falling into what I would call of one of three um, categories. Category one is reflection. I'm learning this about myself, and um, this is important. And who knew I could have this life lesson, make friends, press my boundaries, do stuff. So that personal reflection, that's an interesting and good blog post. What makes that kind of post work better though is if we know more about you, if you're open, if we understand you better, and also more importantly, if we know the specifics events that are triggering it. Not I bungee jumped and although there are no jumpers in this round, but I bungee jumped and this what happened. But if you were doing a post about bungee jumping, um, and that's the Australia people might bungee jump. You have us climb up the ladder. You get us to see what the view is. You get us seeing from your eyes and then what's going on, the specific details of the story itself. If you pull us into the story before you um, tell us what you learned from the story, that would be good. Part two, the second, so that is sort of the reflection. This is what I'm learning from this and um, experience, which is good, but has to be contextualized. The second type of um, posts that I get a lot of is what I'd call postcards at home, postcards to home. I saw this and it was amazing. I saw that and it was great. I found this interesting. I found that interesting. And those are good too, but they're more interesting if I know a little bit more about them. That it's just somewhere and it's beautiful and it's amazing. And a lot of you are giving some good description on that. Don't get me wrong, and working hard at the description. And I love the detailed description that people are going for. But like the Cliffs of Moher, which I was in Ireland, I did not visit them. Um, why are they a big tourist site? Why does everybody have to go? What's going on? And so those are postcards from home, descriptive. I did this, it was great. I did that, it was great. I did the other thing, it was so amazing. The last thing, category, general category that people are getting really is along the lines of I'm watching my timer, make sure I don't go over, along the lines of description of everyday life or description of what I'm doing. Now, I really like description of what I like doing posts, and they're really good as well. But once again, for a reader, an outside reader, to really get more of that, you have to give us more context of what that daily life is, and then sort of twist it to make sure why this is interesting you're doing. So the folks who are out in South Africa, there's a apparently a month-long student strike going on there, about fees and about outsourcing and costs and all that kind of thing. It's a little bit unusual. We don't have a lot of student unrest these days. Loyola, although last year we had some with Ferguson and all that. University of Missouri, hashtag Black Lives Matter. That said, it would be better if we knew more about higher education in South Africa. Knew more about the role of University of Cape Town, the history of University of Cape Town, the aspirations of the students there. You know, what does a university education mean? And just more about the university itself. So in each of those cases, and I think that there's a lot of other really good um, kinds of stories, but the kinds of stories people are doing, the reflection, the postcard from home on a tourist site, description of everyday life, all of them need more detail and more context and tell us things that we don't know. A little bit more work. Not a lot. I'm not saying you got to write 1,000-word blog posts. I don't think you do have to write that. Just a line or two. University of Cape Town was set up in whatever it was. It was mainly by this, by that. After apartheid fell, it became this, it became that. And here's the backstory. And then bring us there. Now, the main overall where I want you to go, and I want you to do this by reading the stories and mimicking them, aping them from the 20 stories that you've read, is I want you to tell more stories, report stories, make up characters. And when I say make up characters, which means is you don't have to really go and find out about them, but you see somebody, describe them, involve them, have dialogue. There was a wonderful post about how hard it is to learn the Thai language. That was a great post. That was a great post. It would have been even greater is if um, we had had some dialogues of trying to talking or what's going on, or here's how I've communicated not being able to learn that language. Make it real, make it concrete, anchor us in the place that you're at. Find out more about tell us more about what those places, just a little bit of history. So make it so we're with you and seeing this through your eyes as you're interacting both with other people and with the environment. And that's what we really want. Report and tell stories to get us involved. The other thing that's really important, and a lot of you have, I think, done very effective, and I've really liked it, is have a voice, be yourself. Let us know who you are, that we can relate to you, and how we can relate to you, and what's going on in relating to you. We want to care about you and care about your adventures and care about what's going on. So that's really, really significant. Now, some of you have that in your natural writing style. And I'm not saying, humor is always good. I'm not saying you have to be funny. You could be earnest. You could be sincere. You could be deep. You could be philosophical. You could be whoever you are. That's fine. But we want a sense of you, and we want a sense of others, and then we want a sense of the new to take us to Spain, to take us to Paris. So both my Paris folks, for example, commented on the smell of urine throughout Paris. I was surprised. I went to Paris 5 years in a row. That wasn't one of my takeaways. Something happened. But rather than saying it smells like urine, it would be I was walking down here and then all of a sudden, what's that? And when you're in the subway, or, one of them noted that up and down on the subway, these steps, which is so, so true. So many steps in the Paris metro. But it would be, oh, I got off at this stop, and I walked and I walked and I walked and this and that and whatever. Make those points by being there in the story, in the moment of your experience. Now, some of you are doing homestay, and the folks who are staying with families, bring us in if you can. Bring us into your life, into their life, into give us descriptions of who they are and what that means to stay with a native. You know how you've worked that through. And, some of the folks are very excited that they have their first American students, and others, I think, are more veterans um, in doing that. Now, in the syllabus, there's some story types that I've suggested. I'm running out of time. I have 2 minutes left. There's some story types that I've suggested that you use and follow. I still think that those are good. I still think lists are good. Um, Remember, you're abroad. You're in a new place to us boring people back here in the United States wanting to share your experience. And so we want your reflection on that. We want your description on that. We want to know how you're interacting with folks and how you're interacting with your environment. Sometimes a little bit more research, a little bit more detail. Um, that next step, a little bit more telling me stories, telling the reader stories, will really perk up um, the next batch. And be you. Allow yourself to come through. A couple little bookkeeping things. Be careful on typos. They really detract. If I were you, I would never use the word obviously or of course. Usually, obviously or of course is not obvious to the reader, and it's not of course to the reader, that kind of thing. If there's people that you have recurring characters for, um, you might want to tell us a little bit about them. Also, some of you are taking Loyola group stuff. You might want to talk a little bit about what that's like to be in a group. You're apart, you're together. I haven't really gotten to anybody's university experience now and how that experience is different. So, those are all some suggestions. I will also, you know, give you one more set of general comments and specific comments before the end of the semester, um, and I'll pass on relevant comments from the blog critiques as well. All in all, I'm happy. I like it. And I think we can go to the next step.